Hello, this is my greenhouse. It's a basic PVC hoop house design, skinned in visqueen. It is 8 feet by 12 feet in length. And instead of going through what you've seen other people tell you, instead of going through and tell you how I built it, I'm going to tell you the mistakes I made while building it. Things that I found helpful, things that I found I could have done a little better. First off, you'll notice that I've got a screen door, just with basic window screen. No problems in that whatsoever. Simple design. But on the back wall, you'll see that I've got a large screened area as well. Originally, I didn't do that. Originally, if you look up here, you'll see a smaller section of screen just above that larger section. That was the width of my original screen in the back, my original additional vent. It was that wide, and it went from that height all the way to the ground. The problem with that is that I live in Florida, and I thought that with that long vertical vent in the back, plus the full length and width of the screen door being wide open, that I thought that that would be enough to vent the greenhouse. It was not. The internal temperature in the greenhouse got to fairly worrying temperatures, 130, 140 degrees. So I had to go back and redo it. I widened it, as you can see, added a section of screening the same width as the front door, and took that all the way to the ground. That has actually helped. And I did also find the suggestion on YouTube of having a large body of water inside the greenhouse. Water has the ability to absorb quite an amount of heat. It takes a lot of energy to heat water. So I've got a 32-gallon garbage can in the greenhouse, full to the rim with water. That, with the addition of the screen, actually made an extreme amount of difference in keeping the greenhouse cool. Seldom gets over 115 now, and that may sound a little hot to you, but as you can tell, my plants actually are doing fairly well. This is a new greenhouse. These are all new plants. And considering, they're doing okay. Now, another issue. How do you connect the visqueen to the greenhouse? Well, I've looked on the internet and I found clips that you can purchase. But the clips are relatively expensive, and there's no place local that sells them. So what you end up having to do is you end up having to order them and have to wait. It has to be delivered. I came across one video, just one, where a guy actually shows you how to make these out of PVC pipe. And what you do is you cut a section of PVC about a foot in length, or excuse me, not a foot in length, but about an inch or so in length. And you take that piece of PVC and you cut 1/4 of it out so that you have a C-shaped piece of PVC. Then what you do is you just roll over, push and clip. That was a rare tip, but it was a good tip, and it worked out rather well for me. Now, another mistake, a big mistake. This PVC hoop house is made out of 2 sections of 10-foot PVC pipe, connected at the top by T's and cross pieces, and goes the length of the ridge. I thought initially PVC glue alone would be sufficient to keep the connection going, so long as I left everything to dry overnight. That was a mistake. That was an extremely big mistake, and it was somewhat costly. I recommend two things. Thing one, don't just glue the PVC together. Sand it first. Rough up the PVC. Give the glue a rough surface to adhere to. Second, I recommend putting a smaller piece of PVC into in my case, the 1-inch PVC. I think I've got 1/2-inch PVC in there, about 4 feet long, that is actually inside and reinforcing that bend. Sanding and the 4-foot section of PVC on the inside actually helped out a lot. You can still see that there is some stress, there's some misshaping, but it's holding up rather well. Skinning. There's a lot of stuff on skinning these things. Some people say that if you pull the visqueen too tight, what you end up doing is, as it expands and contracts in the heat, it ends up ripping. Well, I took that advice, and I put my visqueen, a little loose, and for some odd reason, it just got even looser. So I don't know if that advice was particularly bad or not, or what the deal was, what happened. But in my case, when I next end up skinning this, I'm going to skin the visqueen quite a bit tighter than I did initially, figuring that it's going to loosen. I'm not certain if it's the Florida heat that did it or what, but as you can see, I've got quite a loosening in there. Well, those are the two mistakes that I ran into when I was building my hoop house. Good luck with yours. Have a nice evening.